Modern Dadhood. Modern Dadhood podcast.
Yeah, I'm rolling on my end. And you?
Oh, I'm rolling, dude. I'm rolling in the deep. Isn't that a song?
I'll outline back up. It is Adele. You know that's Adele.
Who?
That's a good coffee mug you're drinking out of.
You like that mug?
It's banana yellow. What is it? Is that a bowl?
It's got...
It's Ferdinand.
It's got the laughing cow on it, which is that brand of... what do they... They make cheese and some other things.
Single serving cheeses.
Yeah, and then it's got a fun little message on the inside that says La Vache qui rit, which I think just means the cow who laughs, or the cow which laughs. Or the laughing cow.
You're a big mug guy.
Love my mugs.
You remember who you geeked out about good mugs with on the podcast?
Not exactly. I mean, I geek out about
Martin Sexton. Martin Sexton is a big mug guy too.
That's right, because I think he even had like one of his little jadeite green diner mugs with him when we were recording. Yeah.
I like mugs too. I don't think I quite appreciate them on the same level that you and Martin do.
Yeah, I like them. I think Marty likes them for this reason too. He'll get them as like souvenirs from places that he's been.
This podcast is Modern Dadhood. It's an ongoing conversation about the joys, challenges, and general insanity of being a dad in this moment. My name is Adam Flaherty, and I have two daughters who are 8 years old and 5 years old.
Well, my name's Marc Cheggett, and I'm a dad to twin boy toddlers.
So this is our Father's Day episode, and it will be dropping on the Friday of Father's Day weekend, and we have something pretty fun in store for our listeners after the interview.
Indeed, we do. We're going to be doing a live episode at the grill. We're going to be cracking beers. We're going to be... Wait, that's not what we talked about, is it?
That's a different thing.
It's not at all what we
That sounds like
talked
a great idea, though. I'd love to do that with you someday.
We should do that. We should do
live streaming from the grill.
Yeah, live from the grill. That'd be a great episode. Write that down.
Today's guest is Kendall Smith, who is a dad to one son, and he's joining us to chat about his awesome new book that he just released called Rookie Father, a Playbook for Men Experiencing Fatherhood for the First Time. So we'll be catching up with Kendall shortly. And after the interview, to kick off Father's Day weekend, do you want to share what is going to happen?
I do. We have queued up a series of ridiculous dad jokes submitted by our listeners. And we'll, of course, let the listeners decide whether they're good or not. But we also might do a little bit of voting in real time.
So stay tuned for that after our chat with Kendall Smith.
I don't know about you, but I'm sore today.
You're sore from being outside?
I spent a lot of time outside this weekend because it was a beautiful weekend, first of all. Did you get outside? Did you get outdoors?
A lot, yeah.
Good.
So here in northern New England, where we live and record our podcast, yeah, the weather was awesome this weekend. It's like the first real sign of summer.
I'm gonna do a chef's kiss. I'm gonna do an ASMR chef's kiss. Okay,
have at it.
I don't know if that was really worth the anticipation or not.
I'm not gonna say underwhelming. It was just a little I think without the visual accompaniment of the hand, it's slightly unremarkable.
That's true. Nope. I don't think it's going to get any better. Actually,
not worth even doing it again.
Yeah, I could sort of do like a mwah, and then like a, that's the sound of my hand rushing past. No, it's terrible.
Yeah, it was an awesome weather weekend. We did some swimming. Well, my girls did a little bit of swimming in the ocean. I didn't do it yet, but I'll be in soon. Mm-hmm. We put on sunscreen both days and spent a lot of time outside. You guys too?
Yes, lots of yard work. My kids were less than thrilled about that being the reason why we were outside. But they spent most of the time, they sort of were going back and forth, which was actually really, really nice because my wife and I don't feel like we've really like been able to get yard work done in the way we like to because the kids require so much attention, but they're pretty good now at like occupying themselves, and they can come inside and get like a cup of water or whatever. And they're getting a little bit more self-sufficient. In fact, we were throwing that word around a lot this weekend and trying to teach the kids, like about being self-sufficient and all of that.
Yeah. Not coming to you every 2 minutes, needing something from you or needing your attention when they have each other's attention.
Exactly.
And are capable of doing at least some things on their own. Yeah. Even at 8 and 5, we're still dealing with a lot of that same stuff and using that word a lot as well. But we did a lot of biking this weekend.
Ooh.
And that was awesome. So my
Nice.
5-year-old, I'm dying to get her off of training wheels. And she's like, for whatever reason, a little resistant to it. I think that with our older daughter, it was like maybe 5 or 6 that we did that. And she caught on really fast to, balancing and riding a 2-wheel bike on her own. I know my younger daughter will too. She's feeling a little nervous about it. But on her bike with training wheels, it's like anytime you go like up a little incline or the road's a little uneven, I feel like without being able to balance herself straight up and down, like she'll just tip over.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why she's nervous about taking them off. But in reality, I'm trying to explain to her that when you take them off and you're actually balancing yourself, you're not going to be leaning, so you're not going to tip over like that. But yeah, my lower back, man, when you're trying to get a kid used to being on a bike,
yes,
and especially like when you feel like you got to be right behind them or near them and sort of down at their height, it takes a physical toll.
Yeah. Yeah, it's killer. Yeah, we got the balance bikes for our kids, and the idea is that you kind of Fred Flintstone with those bikes. So you're like pushing on either side of the bike with your feet as if you're walking, but you're actually sitting on a bike. And they got really used to those really quickly. Our driveway is a big hill, and really quickly they got the hang of balancing on those and flying down that hill at a terrifying speed.
Pretty steep too.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. Like this neighborhood is like built for sledding. It's just one giant hill after another. But we recently, I should say, shout out to my brother Brian, for their birthday, he got them pedal bikes. But part of the idea behind the balance bike was easier transition to pedal bikes without training wheels. But I was hoping for less of the standing at a half bend with one hand on the seat, kind of back-breaking thing that you're describing. But there's still a lot of that, but we're working on it.
Well, you got a whole summer ahead of you. And like I said, with my older daughter, she grasped onto that really fast. There were definitely several days of kind of holding on to her without the training wheels and letting her, get used to balancing. But then it was my wife who just like was holding on to her and then was just like, all right, I'm going to let go. And she went right up the street, did a loop around like a cul-de-sac. And I was terrified. I was like, am I really seeing this? Like, did you just let go? And she was fine. No major accidents. And, this was a couple of years ago now. So she's a really solid biker now. But the new thing with her is, at 8 years old, she's looking for some independence. And so I recently allowed her to go off on her own for like a loop around our neighborhood, which I don't really know. She's 8 years old. And I feel like at 8 years old, I was doing that. But the neighborhood that we live in, it's great. Lots of families. But like cars will go too fast through our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I just get paranoid about, like, even though I know that she will pay attention and be a responsible bike rider and stay to the side and just always be looking, I just feel like there are so many young people who are looking at their phones that I just feel like even just when we're not on bikes, I feel like I see cars just like drift, and then like catch themselves. And that's what I worry about.
Yeah.
And she knows that, I say it's not even you, it's the other people on the road. It's the other drivers that I worry about. Yeah. And that's hard to explain to a kid.
I know. I think about that a lot. too. Like, I feel like I'm going to want to trust my kids to just go and be out in the neighborhood. I mean, I feel really lucky. We live in it's one of these like big sort of never ending looping neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Not a big road at all. People do go a little fast once in a while, but to your point, it's like, I don't know. I think back to when I was a kid, I'm sure there was such a thing as distracted drivers, but I feel like the frequency or like the number or like of reasons why someone might be distracted has gone way up.
Right.
You know, I mean, like
before it was because they were looking at a map, trying to, unfold a map to figure out where the heck they were.
Yeah. They had their old, what is it? McNally? Was it Rand McNally? Those like,
Yes.
they made them, it was folded, but it was still enormous. It just took up the whole view. Yeah. Your whole screen, your whole windshield.
Anyway, I watched her ride off on her bike and I felt okay about it. And then I watched her come around the other side of the loop 3 or 4 minutes later. And she was happy as a clam. Very proud of herself.
That's very cool. That's a that's a big step for her. Like, that's a big moment.
Yeah, it was a good milestone for her, and she was way ready for it. So that's where we're at with bikes. But I'm looking forward to an awesome summer. I think it's going to be great, and really, a summer of growth and outdoor merriment for all of us, really.
Here's to growth and outdoor merriment. Clink,
clink.
Dads, we are happy to welcome Kendall Smith, author of Rookie Father, a playbook for men experiencing fatherhood for the first time. And he's a father himself to an 8-year-old son. Kendall, thank you so much for joining Modern Dadhood.
Thanks, Marc and Adam. Pleasure to be here and great to be on the show.
How are things going with your family? I've got an 8-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter, so I know what my experience being a dad to an 8-year-old is like, and it's pretty crazy right now. So I'd love to hear about, what's up with Connor. How are things? What is he into?
It's a great time. I mean, we're just coming into the nice warm spring season. We've got a pool in the backyard. He's got a friend out there now. His sports they're slowly winding down, so we're having this nice little gap. So we're going to go fishing on Sunday probably, and it's a great time at the moment.
Obviously, you're here to chat about your book, Rookie Father. Marc and I have both spent some time with it, have been really enjoying it. I think that your book it's a unique format, right? Because it's very long, but it's not intimidating, and that is because you cover so many topics across so many chapters, but each chapter is only a page or two long, which, makes it very approachable, very unintimidating, very easy to return to. I didn't feel like I had to start on page 1 and, read through it sequentially. I could easily find topics that are relevant to me and then bounce around. I wonder how you landed on formatting the book in that way.
Yeah. So when I looked at how I wanted to approach self-help content, which this essentially is, but just that title self-help, it does not resonate with men. We hate the word help. We never ask for it. We never want it. Mm-hmm. So I looked at this through the prism of like advice-driven content. And from that, I leaned on my experience when I spent about 10 years working at Men's Health website and magazine. And when you think about the way they craft self-help content, it's suggestive, number one. It's short and succinct. You get right to the point. And like the magazine, the book is skippable. So I almost threw out the manual on how to write a self-help book, because most of those books are written with 30-page chapters that no man is going to get through, especially a new parent, the 8-month-old in the crib. You're not going to be able to get into that level of detail. So I want to make it quick hits and, most importantly, make it skippable for the reader.
It's a really great format. And it's so funny when you talk about it through the lens of like a new parent, when time suddenly becomes incredibly precious. And I mean, in an ideal world, you're picking up books like this before it gets there, and you're sort of preparing yourself, which I think is a book like this would have been really handy. If I had it before my kids arrived, I would have loved something just like this book. But it's funny, yeah, time becomes so precious and you sort of have these fleeting moments. So being able to sort of grab something and not just take something away from it that's useful in the moment, but it also like, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. You're like, I just sat down and read 4 chapters and now I feel good about myself because I just learned something and I felt accomplished, I feel accomplished at the same time. So it works on multiple levels.
I wrote it that, there's a section called Your Wife in that book, and there's about 20 chapters. And if you pluck out 1 or 2 solid pieces of advice that is relatable to your life, your relationship, and the rest goes nowhere, like that's my intent. Is it not all the advice is going to stick, and then hopefully still people are going to glean some decent advice from it here and there, and that's the whole point.
So you were with Men's Health then before becoming a dad. So I wonder how your experience writing, creating content for a male audience, some of whom presumably were fathers, and working with a team of people, presumably some were parents, how that shaped how you approached writing this book, after having become a dad, if that makes sense.
My experience in Men's Health provided a prism of how to give advice. But the advice I gave was really not related to men's health itself. And that being how to deal with your own skeletons in your closet, how to overcome and be more positive on your outlook, how to set yourself up for success, be a better husband. Men's Health gave me the formula of how to talk to men and write for men. But I did it in a way that I think was personal, but also applicable to the real world.
It was pretty early on in the book. You write that the book is written for the 19.4 million men who grew up in a single parent home or lost their father to divorce, estrangement, or untimely death. And I'm curious, why did you sort of decide to take up kind of, I'll call it like the role of sort of being the conduit for that particular audience?
Yeah, great question. There's not a single book on the market, except for Rookie Father, that addresses new dads who may not have had one themselves growing up. And it's an interesting thing because when you think about that format, and you think about how the divorce rate went to 50%, really from the late 60s and stayed there all the way through the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And there were so many kids like me that didn't have a regular father figure. And today, the kids raised in the 90s, that 19.4 million are kids that were raised in the 90s that are in or entering their parenting stage. And I wanted to give them a playbook, let them know they're not alone, that there's many men like this. But also, when you are raised in that context, most men rely on their dad and their fatherly advice, the wisdom, their tonality. I had one dad this week speak about how he models his coaching methodology or his approach like his dad did it. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. And I have nothing like that. Mm-hmm. So I had to look and pull different ideas of how I wanted to coach my son when I was doing so. And it's the same thing with fatherhood. And if you can give some advice or some context around that, I think it's more helpful than not.
You cover so many different themes in the book. In the feedback that you've gotten from folks who have read it or folks who have reviewed it or other interviews that you've done on other podcasts, have you gotten any feedback on specific topics or specific chapters that people have said that was the most impactful section of your book for me?
Yeah, another great question. And I think the 2 pieces of feedback, the one that's more serious and that feels like it's mission accomplished on my end is when people respond and talk to me about how important it is to be communicative as a father and really focusing on explaining how you feel. Not letting things simmer with your wife so it blows up in a fight. That's like the worst case scenario. And I think most guys get it, especially millennial dads. Millennial dads are locking into that philosophy. I think they're appreciating it. They're relating to it. They're a very flexible, open-minded generation. And the other feedback I get is when people outside the demo, like my mother-in-law was reading the book, and I followed up like a month after she got a copy, and I said, hey, what do you think of the book? She said, well, on page 200, Kendall, this thing's like reading a Bible. It's too long. I'm like, well, don't read it page 1 to page 300. What are you doing? So sure. That's pretty much the gist so far.
I found the book to be like there's an overwhelming number of positive outlooks, moments of like positive out. Frequently, you're sort of reminded to view a situation in a positive light, or so many chapters end with a sort of like a rah kind of statement, like a you got this, you can do this, and they're almost like affirmations, kind of. And I just wonder, going into writing the book, like, are you just do you have that outlook on life? Or when you were kind of starting the process of writing this book, was that one of your goals, to always sort of embed these positive outlooks?
I think it was just more I can't say it's my natural outlook in life, but I think as I progress as a parent, and I went back to rework this, because I reworked this when my son was probably a year and a half to 4 years old, if not 5. And I think it's amazing when, as you're editing, when you first write it, you do want to end with something that's proactive and positive. But just the experience of being a dad and my childhood versus what my son is experiencing, and what I have with my father versus what Connor has with me. And you can't help but end on a more positive outlook. And the other thing is that there's so much negativity in our society. As negative as the world is, if you could focus on your family and giving a much better experience to your children than you had yourself, even if you had parents, your mom and dad, let's say your dad had some bad habits, if you can course correct on that and just give them a slightly better experience, then you've made the world a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point that I want to make sure our listeners know. You mentioned whether you grew up in a household with a father or a father figure, or you didn't, you obviously are writing this from a place of growing up without a dad in the picture, at least, after the age of 6 or 7, is that?
Yeah, my parents separated at 6, divorced at 9, and we were estranged when I turned 13.
So you're writing the book from that perspective, and the section of the father population whose experience reflects yours will get so much out of this book. But this book isn't just for new dads who didn't have a dad in their life growing up. I mean, there is so much here that's applicable to any new parent, not even just dads. I mean, there's so much that new moms could get out of this as well. I was just going to jump in with a question that I've been thinking about. One of the things that you write about, Kendall, is finances, which is something that we haven't really touched on a lot in our 60-something episodes of Modern Dadhood. This concept of how to be fiscally responsible, how to save money, investment opportunities for young parents. I wonder if maybe you could give just a quick overview to our listeners about what they're going to learn on the topic of finances from Rookie Father.
Sure. I'm glad to talk about it. And I think it comes from the standpoint of what can you do to eliminate stress, worries about money, and fighting with your spouse about money. The point of view is if you can get in lockstep with your wife with a game plan, and that game plan really, it's a 20-year outlook when your child is born. It'll change and adapt, but the key thing you have to focus on, or what I recommend for guys to think about, is looking at their income and managing it as it comes in, saving for specific goals, and then almost thinking about and putting off 5 steps beyond what you have to do first. Those rewards, like a high-end luxury car, like the big 4-bedroom house, like these big, huge materialistic things should come last to saving for retirement, for saving for a 529. And in this inflationary environment, what can you do to ensure that you enjoy the luxuries, but you cut back where you can, so you're saving as much as you need to for your retirement, your 529 college savings plan, et cetera. In the book to talk about the benefits of doing it early and just consistently.
No, it's such huge advice. Like, start early. It's panic inducing to start thinking about it. There's already a lot going on in your life when you're bringing a child into the world, right? And then if you start thinking about these timelines, right? Well, in 18 years, and you start thinking about these numbers, $60,000 a year or up to $100,000 a year, there's anxiety that comes along with it. But man, if you can just wrap your head around how much more panic inducing and how much more anxiety there would be if you don't act on it early, Actually, I just thought of something as we're sitting here talking. So I'm trying to do the math. You had mentioned a couple times when you started the process of writing the book, how old your son was. I wonder, things change often when you have, especially young kids, right? There's phases, there's new life experiences, and kids grow and change an awful lot. And I just wonder, like, have you gone back through the book, and has your interpretation changed at all in the years since you've started writing the book?
No, that's a great question. I would say certain sections, it's funny, certain sections like the section of the book called Your Legacy, or the advice about in-laws, or even the advice about your wife about how to de-escalate, how to resolve conflict. I think it's still fresh, and I still agree with everything I wrote, to be honest.
Yeah.
I see it more as like, okay, I wrote that book for when you're either expecting a brand new parent in that first 2 years of life. And now I'm thinking about it. I've made notes and I haven't started it, but I'm thinking, okay, then maybe the next book about fatherhood is when your child's 2 years old to kindergarten. So is that next chapter, the next book about a different phase in a child's life?
Something that comes up a lot on this show is, we talk about like the idea of the father figure. Adam and I both, our dads were in the picture, but we talked to a lot of folks whose dads weren't around, or they never knew their dads, or they had a rough relationship with their dads, or they were there, but they were checked out. And, I think part of the general ethos of this show really is to sort of explore that role now in this moment, because things have shifted and things have changed. But nevertheless, I mean, we all sort of, when we become parents, we sort of look to the people in our lives for role models, as ways to model behavior or to figure out how we're going to approach a situation. And some of it's conscious and some of it's unconscious. And we've established that maybe you didn't have a father in the picture, but what were some of the people in your life that you really looked to as those role models?
So it's interesting. When I was 6 years old, and my parents, I vividly remember my father leaving. Around the time of 8, maybe 9, I started paying attention to other dads in the neighborhood, teachers, Boy Scout leaders, coaches, and I just started looking at how men handle situations, the stress. I saw dads that were handling improperly and not doing what they should have been doing. I saw other dads just cool and collected. I just had such a variety, but I was dialed in. My antennas were up when I was growing up more than most, because I knew I wanted to be a father one day. And the beauty about fatherhood and about children is a child is a clean slate. The child doesn't care about your baggage, doesn't care about if you got abused, neglected, ignored. The child does not care when they enter your life. And it's up to you to define fatherhood for yourself. And it'll, of course, adapt over time, but at least to have that thought initially. It'll make you more prepared to be father.
The book's called Rookie Father, a playbook for men experiencing fatherhood for the first time. You can go to therookiefather.com to learn more about it. Kendall also has a blog there. Kendall, we always recommend that people try their local shops first. If they don't have it on the shelf, they can probably order it onto their shelves. But do you have anywhere specific that you like to direct people to pick up the book?
Local retailers need all the help they can get. They're wonderful community establishments. IndieBound, there's a number of places to find it. And then you can find me on The Rookie Father at Instagram, Facebook, and then Author Kendall is my handle on Twitter.
We'll include links to all of the things that you just mentioned in our episode notes. And we want to thank you so much for making time to chat with us today, Kendall. It was really, really nice getting to know you. Wish you best of luck with the book and with your family, and hope to stay in touch with you.
Thanks, Kendall. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Marc. Great being on your show. Take care.
Marc, so do you remember how we ended up collecting all of these recordings of dad jokes that we're about to share with the listeners?
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, it was years ago. We intended to do an episode about dad jokes, and it just never happened. And so we have had a bunch of these collected, just sort of waiting to rear their heads and make us all laugh.
It's safe to blame that on COVID, though, right? We started that venture when we all, in our naivety, thought that COVID was not going to be around for a long time.
Naivete at its finest.
Indeed.
But anyway, we've had these just sitting here waiting, and what better time than Father's Day weekend 2022 to kick things off in style with a bunch of dad jokes from our awesome listeners.
Crank up the tape machine.
Hey guys, it's Garrett from Dallas, Texas. Two ants are sitting around, and one looks at the other and says, "Hey, why don't we have to worry about this COVID-19 thing?" The other ant says, "It's simple. We have antibodies."
I don't know.
Ding.
Hey guys, big fan. This is Brian from Wisconsin. It's not a great joke, but it's one that I use every time, and I find it very funny every time, is when one of the kids tells me they are anything. I am hungry, I am tired, I am frustrated. I repeat that back with, "Hi, I'm tired, I'm Dad." And they think it's funny. I think it's funny. Also think you guys would be remiss if you didn't talk about the greatest dad joke of all time in cinema history, which is Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park pretending to electrocute himself. Just throwing that one out there.
Interesting. A dad joke in the natural world. Well,
I just heard an amazing fact. Thought you guys would be interested in it. Did you guys know that by talking to the cows, it increases their milk production? Yeah, it goes one ear in one ear and right out the other. I screwed up the delivery, but I think you get the point. I died laughing. The kids loved it.
Yeah, for delivery, but ding for the joke. I mean, that was good.
It was good.
Hey guys, this is Tom in Exeter, New Hampshire. What does an annoying pepper do? It gets jalapeno face.
Ooh!
I give it a ding.
Ding. Definitely gonna get laughs from children.
Hey dude, it's your brother Brian. Today my daughter asked, "Can I have a bookmark?" And I felt like crying. 11 years old, she still doesn't know my name is Brian.
Ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
And you have a brother named Marc.
Hey,
That's
brother
it.
Brian again.
Oh,
Have you heard
snap.
about the movie Constipation? Yeah, it hasn't come out yet.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding. Yeah.
Hey, it's Brian again, your brother. See, the thing about dad jokes is just not how bad they are, but the lengths to which dads will go simply to deliver the perfect one-liner. See, for example, we don't drink soy milk, but I will go to the store to buy soy milk, specifically to serve to my children, so that I could have this conversation. "Hey, buddy, what are you drinking?" And he says, "Soy milk." And I say, "Hola, milk, soy padre."
Ding, ding.
Yeah, ding. I mean, ding for effort, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Adam and Marc. This is Seth from York, Maine with a dad joke. Here it goes. I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down.
I knew it was coming,
Cole,
but still.
yes.
But still, ding.
Ding. Well done, sir.
Hey Adam, it is Joel from Gorham, Maine. How do you make a tissue dance?
Oh, I know this
You
one.
put a little boogie in it.
Boom. Boom.
Tale
But that's
as
a
old
crowd-
as time.
That's a crowd killer
Ding.
every time.
Hey guys, Nick from Canada. Hey, why do you never see elephants hiding in trees? They are really good at it. Also, hey, did you guys hear about the that zoo that only had one dog? Yeah, it was a Shih Tzu.
I don't get the first one, but gotta give a ding for the second one.
Ding, ding.
Hey guys, this is Troy Garman from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to know if you guys had heard about the guy that got his left side cut off. Don't worry, he's all right now.
Ding! I love it.
That was great.
These are great.
Ding, ding.
Hey guys, this is Jet from Glendale, Arizona. What do you call a waffle on the beach? A San Diego. What do you call a teen that's home during this time? A quarantine.
Okay, all right.
A ding and an from me.
Hey guys, this is Seth calling from Los Angeles. What did the janitor say when he jumped out of the janitor's closet? Supplies!
Oh,
Ding.
Wait a minute. I'll let it slide.
Hey guys, it's Scott from Cape Elizabeth, Maine. Have you heard about the new pirate movie? It's rated R!
Oh, I love you, Scott, but man, that's an old one. That's nothing fresh.
I'm going to give it a ding for the voice.
This is Andrew from Epping, New Hampshire. I asked Robin Hood if he wanted to take a walk in the forest with me. He said, sure would.
Oh, yeah. Ding, ding. Oh, that's so good.
Hey, guys. This is Tomislav from Hampstead, New Hampshire. So what's the best time to go to the dentist? Tooth hurty.
Yes.
Of course it is. Of course
that one's
it
so
is,
near
Tommy.
and dear to my
Yes.
heart. I love that one. My dad was a dentist. Yeah. Do you have any dad jokes you want to share?
I should have come prepared.
You really should have.
Oh, here's one. It's not really a dad joke because my 8-year-old told it to me.
I see.
And it's not even really a joke. You'll get it when I tell you this.
Okay.
What has 4 letters, sometimes has 9, but never has 5?
I don't know. What?
No, I'm just telling you. What has 4 letters, sometimes has 9, never has 5? It's just a fact.
That's good. Did she brought that to you?
Yeah, she came to me with that.
Oh. Adam, knock, knock.
Who's there?
The interrupting cow.
The interrupting
Moo.
cow. Hey, Marc.
Uh-huh.
Knock, knock.
Oh, well, who's there?
Europe.
Europe who?
No, Marc. You're a poo.
But I didn't. Oh. Knock, knock.
Yes, who's there?
The paranoid interrupting cow.
The paranoid
You
interrupting...
liar! Adam, should we close out the episode?
As much as I don't want to.
No, me neither.
Because I feel like this episode should go on forever. We should, yeah.
All good things come to an end.
Well, dads, you can find Modern Dadhood, the podcast, at moderndadhood.com or wherever you like to listen. That could be Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music,
Jokecasts, Dad Pods,
SillyPod,
Laughify. You go to Laughify.
Laughify, L-A-F-F.
Yeah.
Wherever you listen, please take a moment to subscribe and leave us a very quick rating and a review. Doesn't have to take long, makes a big difference to us. And the other thing is, please, as you're gathering with your friends and family this weekend, mention Modern Dadhood to somebody and tell them how much you just love this show.
Tell them how you can barely go 2 weeks without listening to an episode.
You can follow Modern Dadhood on Instagram and on Facebook. We throw some stuff up on YouTube, so subscribe, follow us in all of those places.
If you do find yourself on the website, you can pick up a t-shirt or a very, very comfortable Modern Dad hoodie. Those are for sale on the website. Also, you can drop us a line anytime you want at hey@moderndadhood.com. You can write in, ask us about maybe any of the guests we've had, or suggest some topics, or if you think there's somebody that we should try to have on the show, let us know. Or just write in to say, guys, happy Father's Day.
We want to give thanks to Casper Baby Pants and Spencer Albee, as always, for the music in our podcast. We want to thank Pete Morse at Red Vault Audio for always making us sound great. And we want to thank Kendall Smith for the awesome chat and hope that he sells lots of copies of his new book. March? Marseille?
And thank you for listening.
Podcast. Living modern.